Hi guys, today I want to talk about Leica. I recently purchased my very first Leica camera. I've never really thought that they were something I would like, but still, as someone who's really curious about different cameras and as someone who has tried most brands of digital cameras, I felt like I have to buy a Leica at some point. I have to try it for a week or two just to know what it is like. So in this video I want to summarize my main findings of what makes a Leica camera different from every other digital camera. And I'm of course talking about the rangefinders. I bought this one, the oldest and cheapest Leica rangefinder, the M8. And the reason I bought this one is that it cost around $1,000 used in good shape, and that is about as much money as I wanted to put into this. There is also the M9, which is a few years newer, that costs maybe double that, and then there is the M10, which is the latest rangefinder from Leica, and that one costs I think like $7,000, $8,000 new, and yeah, maybe a little less used, but it is not a cheap camera. So this camera, the M8, is like from 2006 or something, so it has a really old sensor, and that makes the photos not look that nice by today's standards, but other than that, it behaves like the newer Leica rangefinders. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the 9 points what makes a Leica different from your regular digital camera. Number 1, it has no preview of the depth of field. So if you're using a fast lens, I am using the Voigtlander 35mm f1.7, you won't see the shallow depth of field in the viewfinder, because the viewfinder is just like a glass basically. It doesn't like see what the lens sees really. So this takes a bit getting used to, and I'm not sure if I like it or not, but it is something that is distinctly different. You have to kind of visualize for yourself what the final photo would look like with short depth of field, but I mean, I don't find it a big issue, it's just different. Number 2 is that the viewfinder has so-called frame lines. And the viewfinder, since it is a fixed focal length, I think it is like 24mm, every other focal length you will have to kind of look in a certain box, and this will adjust itself depending on what lens you have on your camera. So this is also a thing that is very different from any other digital camera. With a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, you will see exactly what the lens sees, but here you will kind of see a little bit outside the frame, and then you will have to visualize like what will it look like when you actually are only getting what's in the frame lines. This is also something I'm not sure if I like it or not. I mean, for street photography, for example, it's probably good, because then you can kind of anticipate what's gonna come into your frame before it actually comes in there. So you have a little bit more of an overview. But also I think it makes it a little bit harder to visualize what the final image will actually look like. So I guess it's a matter of taste, as with many other things related to Leica rangefinders. Thing number 3 is the focusing, which is also very different from what you're probably used to. First of all, it's completely manual focus. You turn the focusing ring on the lens. Maybe you have done that before, but the method by which you see what is in focus or not is very different from any other camera, any other digital camera at least on the market. Basically you have this small little square that is light taken in from a separate window on your camera, and you have to line up what's in that window with what you're seeing in the rest of the frame, and that means that whatever you have in the middle of the frame is in focus. And I like this. I think it's pretty easy to focus like this, and compared to other methods in modern cameras like focus peaking or focus magnification, I think this one is actually quicker and maybe even more accurate once you get used to it. So yeah, I like this aspect of Leica cameras. Thing number 4 that makes a Leica rangefinder different from other digital cameras is that the menu is very minimal. There's only one screen of options, and there aren't that many. And I love this because they have been pretty sensible as towards what options are included in the menu. So it's very easy to have an overview of all the settings in your camera, and you get this nice feeling of being in control. You know exactly what all the settings are, and you have gone through them and set them, and yeah, you can just focus on taking photos. I like this aspect of the Leica cameras. They are minimal. And minimalism is something you see in every aspect of the Leica camera design. If you look at the camera body itself, it is very minimalistic. There are no buttons and stuff that aren't really needed on there, only the bare minimum. And I really like this. I like that it is so clean and that there are no like protruding things on the camera body, no like sharp corners, anything like that you see in many modern cameras. It makes the camera very nice to carry around your neck and have with you at all times. And the build quality is so extremely solid. I've held a lot of digital cameras in my hands, but this is by far the best built one, or like the one that has the highest feeling of quality of all the cameras I've held in my hand. It is pretty heavy for its size, but it's because it's built all out of metal. But the interesting thing is it doesn't feel heavy. It just feels very nice to hold in your hand. So I really love the build quality of Leica cameras. I wish that more camera brands would look at this and look at their design and kind of get a bit inspired by that. Thing number 6 that is different about Leica rangefinders that I also really like is they have this analog feel to them. I have a few analog film photography cameras, and I hate many aspects of them. For example, the expensive and tedious process of getting your images in front of you. But one thing I really love about analog photography is the simplistic feel of taking the photo. There is nothing in the way. You just have your ISO, your aperture, your focus, and your shutter speed. Nothing else. And it's so freeing to only have to think about these things, and then when you take the photo you get this very nice like analog sounding click, and the Leica definitely has this. And yeah, it's just a cozy feeling to take photos with this kind of camera. And I love the mix between analog and digital. Like the feel of taking the photo is analog. I mean the screen is not even turned on unless you want it to be turned on. And yeah, I love this feeling, and still you get a digital image in the end. So yeah, it's a good experience, I believe, to shoot with a Leica rangefinder. Thing number 7, there is no video whatsoever in the Leica rangefinders. No matter what model you buy, the M8, M9 or M10, there is no video features at all. And this also shows that Leica have really chosen to focus on what they think is important and what probably their customers think are important, and video is not among those things. It is pure photography. So it is something to keep in mind if you want to buy a Leica rangefinder. There will be no video features. Thing number 8, they are expensive as hell. I already talked a little bit about this, but this is something that really makes the Leica camera stand out. They cost a lot of money to buy, and this is something I think also has held me from trying one for a long time, because I mean, I don't feel that comfortable putting like $8,000 into a camera. Even if I could afford it, I don't love the feeling of walking around with something that expensive around my neck. It just doesn't feel comfortable, especially when there are other cameras with same kind of image quality for like a fourth of the price. But I mean, this is not like a pure critique. Like, I understand why they are expensive. They are made in ways that are expensive to make, and yeah, they also can take this price because they are so unique. No one is really like trying to do the same thing as Leica with the rangefinders. They have basically no competition in this area, so they can have high prices. But this is something that really makes them stand out. And the last thing that makes Leica rangefinders unique and different from every other digital camera is that they have very compact lenses. And I've actually shot with Leica lenses long before I owned this camera. Actually, this Voigtlander 35mm f1.7, I think it's probably my favorite lens for Leica M mount in terms of what you get for your money. It's a beautiful rendering lens. It's very compact and small, very sharp, and not that expensive. And most Leica rangefinder lenses are very small. I mean, this is a 35mm f1.7 lens. Compare that to a 35mm f1.4 or f2.0 on any other digital camera like a DSLR or a mirrorless. I mean, those lenses are like 4 times the size and more than double the weight. So this is very nice about the Leica lenses. They are very compact. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Just something to inform you a bit about what is different with the Leica experience. Then it's up to you if you want to try it or not. I think I would probably sell this camera, not because I hated the experience, but mostly because I hated the way the photos came out. This very old sensor from 2006, it's simply a little bit too bad when it comes to dynamic range and colors for me. I want something better, and I'm actually not sure if I want to spend the money that you would have to spend to get a newer Leica. We'll see about that. Maybe in the future if I get more money on my hands. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did like it. It helps my channel. And don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos about photography every week. Over and out.